Gallup's latest state of the global workplace, I can't even talk because of workplace depression. Workplace report reveals that 20% of the world's workforce is experiencing loneliness daily. Social isolation and chronic loneliness having a devastating effect on physical and mental health, but how does it affect work and productivity? Now, joining us to share key findings and offer insight on what organizations should know is Kristen Lipton, Managing Partner of Business Development at Gallup. Good morning, Kristen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. You see, I'm going over my words, so you know what's going on with me. So, how does Gallup conduct this annual study?
Well, at Gallup, we are committed to helping the world's employees be heard, to elevate their voices. And in our recent study, we examine how life is going in general, but also at work. And it's important, you mentioned work. Work is the thing that other than sleep, we spend the most time doing in our lives. So it's really important that we have some data at the forefront of the conversation. So through our latest report, we can quantify the employee experience. Now we do that by leveraging our World Poll data, going to 160 countries, and we can look back in time for 20 years to make sense of 2023 and what we're all experiencing. And our hope is that these insights, they land in the hands of leaders who take them right back to their organizations and make positive change so we can get to work in fixing the world's broken workplaces.
Now, what are the most important findings?
Yes. So as I mentioned, we can look back in time, and while we can say that the workplace is improving, that's a good thing. In 2023, global employee engagement, it has stagnated, and overall well-being is on the decline. Now, loneliness, which you mentioned, is a real concern. You mentioned people feeling isolated. In fact, our data show that's absolutely true. 1 in 5 employees are saying they are lonely. Now, I'll tell you, it's even worse if you're a younger employee and you're under the age of 35. It's even worse if you're working exclusively remote. Now, here in the US, we also have stress as a unique concern. So roughly half of US workers are experiencing stress at a rate that is higher than what we're seeing globally. All of this to be said, it means that the majority of us are showing up in the workplace, and to some degree, we're struggling. There are major consequences to that. Conservative estimates put that at $8.9 trillion. That's roughly 9% of global GDP. So there's still work to be done.
Now, what factors do you believe are driving these changes?
Yes. So, we can all relate to disruption. Disruption is coming at us in so many ways. The landscape of work is changing. Technology and AI are coming at us at a dizzying pace. Certainly, we have a new, younger generation in the workforce that's changing things, and we have societal and cultural shifts. All of this are making it simply harder to be a manager. Now, we would expect that managers would be more engaged than the rest of the organization, and indeed they are. But what's concerning is that managers are experiencing more daily negative emotions. They are more stressed, they're more angry, they're sad, they're more lonely, and they're even more likely to quit. Now, this is concerning because managers are the lifeline of your organization. They set the tone for the culture. So what we know is that if managers are struggling, their teams are struggling. So it's certainly an area of opportunity.
Chris, it almost sounds like an entrepreneur in a way, kind of how they're feeling right now. I hate to say that. So what should organizational leaders do to fix these issues?
Yeah, so as much as the concerns in the workplace are kind of focused right on that manager, I'll tell you the solution is a great manager. We know that the managers account for 70% of variance in engagement at that local team level. And we know that change is possible because Gallup studies the world's best run organizations, and they are bucking the trend. So while globally we're seeing 23% of engagement, in the best organizations, 70% of their employees are waking up enthusiastic, passionate, excited every single day. And that's driven by 3/4 of the managers who they themselves are engaged. It makes a tremendous difference. And it doesn't have to be particularly complicated in concept, now maybe harder to do. It's one conversation, one meaningful conversation with a team each week. That's the core habit. that sets the best managers apart. And what it does is it bridges any of that physical distance that we may be experiencing that can bring some psychological distance into the team. And it goes a long way into turning a job into a great job for employees.
Now, where can we see these findings and get more information?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So we would invite you to visit gallup.com and download a full copy of the State of the Global Workplace Report.
You know, what'd be interesting is if you actually did this with entrepreneurs too, because you know they're lonely, they've got a lot of stress, and you know they get angry a lot. So I would love to see a report on entrepreneurs.
You know, I invite you to take a look at the report because I think you'll find a lot more findings that are indeed very interesting.
I'm going to do that too. Kristen Lipton, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to check this out.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.